there's a lot of internal struggles when it comes to focus on being environmental versus focusing on your health. How do you find the balance of saving cows in the environment or feeling good and being strong and having protein and fueling your body? So I think it all just comes down to balance. You are listening to Phone Eats First. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Phone Eats First, a podcast about romanticizing life and finding inspiration inside and outside of the kitchen. My name is Corey May, Corey in the Kitchen, however you know me, however you found me. Hi, hello. I am so happy you're here. I'm recording this on a beautiful Saturday and gonna eventually edit and post this by tomorrow. I promise it will be done. So if you're listening to this, just know I'm patting myself on the back because I did it. Yay. But anyway, today's episode is going to be all about Earth Day, because if you didn't know, Earth Day is April 22nd. It's on April 22nd every year, and we should all be celebrating and participating accordingly. Can't say that I always am or really ever have, but I did feel this was an appropriate episode to record now. And so I'm just going to kind of share some kitchen sustainability hacks, things I do, things I want to do. And then I also talked to my friends and got some of their insight and tips and all that jazz. So a little bit more of an informational episode today, which let me know what you think about it. But before we get into the episode, we're going to get into the weekly report. So our reading, I have finally finished By a Thread by Lucy Score, and I am on to A Court of Thorns and Roses. ACOTAR, as a lot of people just refer to it as, it is a fantasy series, and I'm not very far into the book at all. I'm on like chapter 5 where she has like just entered the fantasy realm thing. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not into fantasy, and I kind of have a hard time following it, to be honest, because it's a lot of unknown. Well, I mean, literally it's fantasy. It's made up characters and like dragons and locations. So it's, for me, I kind of have a hard time following, but I can tell that I think I'm going to like this book. So I will report back soon on how I like it. Eating. I just had a Ninja Creamy smoothie bowl, and I will never not share my Ninja Creamy obsession. It was so good. And I had a mixed berry one with some protein. I topped it with granola, blackberries, and chia seed pudding, which I randomly made a few days ago just because I knew I was going to have no food in my fridge. So I wanted to be able to kind of nibble on something, and I like it. I think it kind of adds like a nice texture. If you're a texture person though, or like a consistency person, you'll probably hate chia seed pudding. But if you like it, I recommend putting it in your smoothie bowl. Okay, plan. I have a very exciting plan. Tonight I'm going to Hozier with my mom here in Raleigh, and I'm so excited. If you know me, you know I love him, and I actually saw him back in the fall with my mom. But we're going again, and I have pit tickets, so if you want to see all my videos, just let me know, because I will probably be recording every second of the concert and singing along, so I can't wait. Okay, obsession. I've got 2 right now. One is a new podcast that I have found. It's called Strawberry Milk Pod, and I found them through TikTok because it is 3 sisters, and they own the oldest one started a bikini business called Strawberry Milk Mob, but now they have a podcast. And I don't know, it's just such a nice conversational podcast of these 3 sisters just chatting about their life and whatever topic they choose of the week, and I'm just like kind of invested in their life at this point. So I don't know if you like conversational podcasts, kind of like Gals on the Go, something like that. It's a similar vibe. I think they're pretty funny. So it's a very like lighthearted podcast. And then number 2, obviously Taylor Swift's new album. Like, can we just have a moment to applaud her on this masterpiece she released? Like, I can't even comprehend how talented she is. Needless to say, even the Easter eggs she dropped about the 2 albums, like I just like literally cannot wrap my head around how much planning this woman does and how smart she is and how clever she is. I'm speechless. And if you're a Swiftie, I hope you have celebrated accordingly this weekend listening to the new album. It's fantastic. Okay, I've shared this before, but my recipe is my Starbucks order because I love it. And I posted a story on my on Corey in the Kitchen yesterday about my Starbucks order always being associated with soccer fields. And just, if you know, you know, it has a lot to do with my job. And if you don't know, my job is at this point, I'm always at a soccer field. So I have early mornings, and Starbucks is, as much as people like to shit on Starbucks coffee, the convenience outweighs all of the cons of Starbucks, in my opinion. So my order is the iced shaken espresso with 2 pumps chai, no simple syrup, and then milk. Shout out Maggie Bryson for teaching me this order, because she knows I love a dirty chai, but this is supposedly cheaper and better than just ordering Starbucks classic dirty chai, I guess, or maybe chai tea plus espresso. I don't know. I love it though. And then I get the little turkey sausage breakfast sandwich as well. And it actually kind of holds me over for a little bit. Okay, and tea. Today I'm mixing up tea. Instead of treat, I'm going to go with something I've been thinking about, and it has to do with Taylor Swift's new album. But it's just about the idea of creativity. And I watched her new music video that she released last night with Post Malone for Fortress. What's the number one song on it? Yeah, for the music video Fortnite with Post Malone. I was just watching that, and I don't even understand it. Like, I kind of get it. I get like one interpretation of the music video, but like a very, very basic one of just how like trapped she is, and the world that she lives in is just like forced upon her and stuff like this. But overall, like that, and then her entire album, 31 songs of just straight poetry turned to songs. So I promise I wasn't high when I was thinking about this, even though I am recording this on 420. But I just was thinking about how, as a human, we are probably all born with the capability of harnessing our creativity, but just the way society is right now, we don't live in a world that really nurtures creativity in a lot of places. Like, it's almost kind of unique to, or niche to, be creative. So being an artist, whether that's an author, a poet, a singer, songwriter, someone in, or then there's like the whole entertainment industry of like TV, movies, film, script writing, all that. That being in that world is considered unique. Like, it's like, oh wait, cool, you're like in the creative space. Like, the closest people get is like working in marketing and business, and that's not even, trust me, it's not really that creative a lot of the time. So I was just kind of went on a tangent in my brain at some point in the last 24 hours, and I was like, it's really sad that we don't. Oh, I've also forgot about artists, like painting, drawing, sculpting, like creating physical forms, whatever it is. Podcasting, let's throw that in there too. But I have kind of noticed in myself how the creative juices start flowing a lot more because I have been practicing creativity. And so, I don't know, there's not really a moral of the story here other than the fact that it's sad that our society, it's hard to be creative, and we don't nurture that when we're young. Like, yeah, you color and draw and all that. And think about how creative kids are with the things that they say and tell and draw when in like elementary school, because they have no concept of reality. And then as we develop this better concept of reality, I don't know, we just lose creativity. So this is just some food for thought at the moment. So do what you will with this, but basically I think Taylor Swift's definitely on another level with her creativity and artistry and mastermind that she is. Like, I think she's one of the most intelligent women out there with just literally everything. Like I talked about with my obsession, like her album, the Easter eggs, everything that she does, it blows my mind. But I just think a lot of people could do more than we all think we're capable of if we just try. Like when I came up with the name Phone Eats First for this podcast, as soon as it just like hit me one day, and I was like, wait, this is perfect. And if you're a newer listener, I named this podcast Phone Eats First because I knew it was going to be tied to Corey in the Kitchen and my love and passion for food and like just the health, wellness, food, impact on your body, all that. So I wanted it to be tied to food, but I was like, this isn't going to be a food podcast. It's going to be a lifestyle, health, wellness podcast. So when I thought of Phone Eats First, the word eats obviously deals with food, but it's kind of a vague title. And then with Phone Eats First, that is a saying that kind of started with like the foodie era and like Instagram, like when people would start taking pictures of their food and posting it on Instagram because the food in front of them is just so pretty or whatever reason that people want to take a picture and then share it. So that all ties back to the romanticizing life part, where I want everyone to have a life and live a life that is aesthetic and pretty and beautiful to you. And whether you do physically want to take a picture, or it's just the idea of like, oh, this is so pretty, or picturesque that I would want to take a picture, like whether you do or not. Like, I take pictures of everything, but I know there's a lot of people who like are very outdoorsy and love to go on hikes and stuff, but maybe don't take a picture every 2 seconds of the hike. Like, but in your mind, you're still like, oh, this is beautiful, picturesque, like picture worthy and aesthetic. And my definition of like my mind eating first, almost, because it's like, oh, I'm just like taking all of this in before I'm even like sharing it, because it's just so perfect and beautiful. In my trailer, I talk kind of a little bit about, well, a lot about, I guess, the name. But anyway, this is a really long report, a tea of report specifically. I've just been thinking a lot about this. So I don't know. Let me know what you think about this whole creativity topic that I just brought up. It has absolutely nothing to do with the episode, but if you guys share some insight, maybe we can have a whole episode about this. But that is the weekly report. And let's get into today's episode. All right. Like I said, tomorrow is Earth Day, April 22nd. And here's just a few reasons why I love Earth Day. One, I love the earth, like, so much. The sky, the ocean, the sun, those are probably 3 of my favorite things. If I, had a list of just random objects that are my favorite things. The sky is so large, and when it is the perfect crisp blue, I could just stare at the sky all day, and I think it is the most beautiful shade of blue. And just overall, like, the sky makes me feel so small, and it brings me so much peace. And then same with the ocean. The ocean, literally, there's this thing called the blue effect, which I just looked it up to give like the real definition, because we know I don't actually know it. The blue effect is, it shows the positive effect on our bodies when we are close to water. Even staring at water fills most of us with a meditative sense of calm and feelings of contentment. Or some people call it the blue mind theory. But so basically what it's saying is, staring at the ocean literally calms you, makes you feel content. And then for me, it relates back to the sky, where it's like, I literally feel so small. Like, this ocean goes on and on and on and on, and I can't even comprehend how big it is and like how much is in the ocean. So it really is just, it's crazy. It humbles you in a good way and just makes you just think about your perspective on life. And then we also have sunrises and sunsets, which I don't even need to explain that. They are just the most beautiful thing, I think, in the world. Like, there is nothing more magical than a really bright, vibrant sunrise or sunset. And so if we want to keep seeing these things and enjoying these things, I mean, I guess technically nothing's really going to happen to the sky or the sunrise, but like the ocean's getting filled with plastics, like all that. So guys, it's Earth Day. Let's take care of it. Let's save the earth so our little grandkids can enjoy it. But so really in this episode, I just wanted to give kind of like a short and sweet idea of how I practice sustainability in my kitchen, and kind of just the home in general, but specifically the kitchen. And so just some basic things that I do and try and instill in others. 1, we've got reusable grocery bags. You guys, probably that's one of the most obvious and easiest things, but a very important key here is, I'm sure you guys have heard the arguments of paper versus plastic versus a reusable bag. We all know that we live in a world of consumerism, and new products are created all the time. Old products are thrown away all the time. And so it is really important, if you use reusable grocery bags, have like 5 or 6 or however many you need, and literally just use those for the rest of your life or as long as the bag lasts you. Because if you get a new one every few months or years, that's defeating the purpose of it all being reusable, because it takes a lot of water and energy to make these bags. So choose wisely, invest in a few good ones. I mean, yeah, every once in a while, am I going to treat myself to a really cute tote bag? Yeah, duh. But overall, I keep my reusable bags in the car, obviously, because if they're not in the car, I'm not going to have them at the grocery store. And Trader Joe's has a really cool thing where if you bring your own bags, they have a little raffle where you fill out your name and phone number every time, and you put it in a little box when you leave. And apparently every week they draw a name and they like reimburse you for your groceries for that week. I've never won, and I don't think I ever will. But if I ever do win, I think that will be the day that I just have won life. But it's a nice little motivating way to bring your own bags. Or like, I think Whole Foods gives you 10 cents off something like per bag you bring or whatever. I don't even know what it is, but I know you like save a little bit of money at Whole Foods by bringing or not using their bags at least. Okay, another way to practice sustainability is save mason jars from like pasta sauce, pickle jars, whatever containers you're buying. Most of ours in the cabinet right now are from like pasta sauce because Trader Joe's, and they're also like a decent size, but they're great for storage. It's basically free Tupperware that you have already purchased, but no need to buy like more glass containers. Of course, I still have more Tupperware that I've purchased that is glass and like good for saving all my meals and stuff, but these mason jars are not only water glasses, just like beverage glasses, make great smoothie and iced coffee because everyone likes to have a aesthetic clear glass for those, but it's just perfect for that. And it's also great for storing fruit in the fridge or like cut up produce, lemons, whatever you're trying to save in the fridge. It's great. Or if you do like overnight oats, perfect for that. And also if I am ever like back and forth between mine and my parents' house, and I say I make overnight oats because I'm going to drive to work early in the morning, I don't feel bad about using one of these like random mason jars that I have from like a random grocery product a few months ago. I don't feel as bad about using it and then recycling that rather than having a container. I need to take it home, wash it, eventually give it back. Another one that you guys probably already do is reusing plastic bags. So if you do go to the grocery store and you get plastic bags, it's okay, but just save them in your house. Like there was a TikTok during like COVID that was something about, okay, middle-aged class Americans, like go around your house and it's like, do you have a cabinet somewhere that has a bunch of plastic bags inside of one other plastic bag? And the answer is yes for like everyone. It's just funny that everyone has that same thing in their life. So like SG and I have a drawer in our kitchen where we are both pretty good about reusing plastic bags or grocery bags. She actually typically just takes paper bags from like Whole Foods or Trader Joe's and brings those back to the store to take her groceries home in. Sometimes she has reusable bags. It just kind of varies. But we do save these plastic bags, and like I'll use them for poop bags. I'll use them when I go to the beach and need something to put like dirty clothes or a bikini in or something wet. There's lots of reasons to need a plastic bag at random times. So if you are having to get bags from the grocery store, just save them. They have a use. I also use paper bags as wrapping paper. Should I be doing that? Is it the most aesthetic thing? Like, no, but honestly, for me, it's pretty on brand to be giving someone a present wrapped in a Trader Joe's or Whole Foods bag. And I kind of love it. It's just different and unique. And it doesn't always work, but a lot of the times it gets the job done. Okay, number 4 on this list is shopping locally, like at your farmer's market, rather than going to a grocery store. And then this also ties into buying seasonal produce. So first, if you're buying local, you're saving, well, you're also supporting like local farmers and businesses and stuff like that. But it's also the transportation aspect of everything. If you are going to a grocery store, which I know this is a lot easier said than done. Like I go to the grocery store all the time and I prefer the grocery store to the farmer's market. But shopping locally, the main benefit here is saving on transportation. There's probably more, but I'm not an expert in this field, so that's kind of the main reason I would think of. And then also buying seasonal produce reduces emissions from transporting out of season produce to your area. So like strawberries right now are in season. Whenever we buy them outside of this X time window, they are being flown in, driven in, I don't know, to your area to then be sold, and they're also just not as good. So if you're buying seasonal produce, I know it's good for the environment. I can't really tell you why. Sorry, I'll look it up after this. But if you're going to your farmer's market, one, you're just going to be happier because you're going to see all the cute little farmers, all of the people in your community just in one place, and everyone is just like buying nice, fresh produce. And the serotonin I get from going to the farmer's market is great. So if you don't go, I recommend it. And it also is just like probably the number one way to romanticize your life is just like go buy seasonal produce from a farmer. You're paying cash. You're also can probably get a nice little coffee, a nice loaf of bread, some flowers. Just treat yourself. Maybe wear a cute outfit because you're actually leaving the house on the weekend. It's just such a happy time. Okay, another way to practice sustainability is, then this is a big one for me, is food waste. So I am pretty impressed with myself at how good I am at avoiding food waste. For this past like 2 weeks, I have been just like scavenging out of my fridge because I've been gone so much and I haven't had like a really big haul because I'm also leaving again this weekend, and just, I'm very sensitive to my calendar and knowing when I'm going to be gone and planning accordingly. And another part of planning is just planning your grocery list. Like plan out your meals. That is one of the best ways to avoid food waste, because you're looking at your week and you're like, okay, I have a date night on Thursday, or Friday, Saturday, I'm going to be out of town for work. And then like Sunday, I know I don't really like to cook on Sunday. So why would I buy groceries for Sunday? And it's like, okay, well, actually, I already have one meal for tomorrow. And that just leaves me like Tuesday, Wednesday, and like Thursday lunch. And let's plan meals for that. Think of your groceries as meals for X, Y, and Z days. And so that's a really good way to, well, one, have the food that you need for the week, and then also just avoid food waste. Another part of this is just avoiding oversized portions. So I don't have this issue because I kind of eat a lot, and I love leftovers. But if you're someone that doesn't eat leftovers, one, how do you not eat leftovers? Like that is it would save you so much time and energy, which again is another part of this episode, is if you are preparing food in bulk and like buying in bulk for your meals and kind of cooking everything at once, which like, so technically meal prepping is, I think, sustainable because you're doing so much in a shorter period of time that you're not turning your oven on every single day. You're not whatever every single day and cooking for it. You're just saving time and money and energy. So that is one thing that I didn't really think about, but when I was prepping for this episode, I saw that online. I was like, oh wait, that actually does make a lot of sense. So like, and then also cooking multiple things in the oven at the same time, which I know that's not always realistic, and people who are probably really particular about smells and taste, which is not me, as you know. Maybe you don't want to cook like salmon and, I don't know, sweet potatoes at the same time. I mean, I do that, but I don't know, if you can't handle the fish and potato combo, or insert whatever that you wouldn't want to combine the smells and taste of, maybe that's not for you, but it's for the environment. So I don't know, maybe you can get over it. Okay, but back to food waste. So moral of the story of what I was getting at is we're avoiding oversized portions. If you know you're not going to finish something, maybe buy a little bit less. Another thing for food waste is saving your scraps for veggie broth. And I have actually done this. I haven't done it in a little bit just because I haven't been as consistently cooking. But in my freezer, I have a Ziploc bag. And so if I have cooked an onion or garlic or ginger, carrots, or if you're like shredding a potato, whatever it is, these food scraps from vegetables, if you put all of them into a freezer bag, and then once I wait till I have 2 freezer bags, but you could also just wait till you have one full one. You then rinse you're supposed to rinse. I did not because I was like, whatever. You take all the waste, put it into a really big soup pot with a few cups of water, and then you can add all the seasonings. So like salt, pepper, fresh herbs, whatever is floating your boat, maybe another like fresh garlic or onion, and you bring it to a boil and then let it simmer for a few hours, and then you strain it. You have veggie broth, and I guess you would then throw away the veggie scraps or compost them. But overall, that's a great way to reuse your scraps, and then you don't have to buy veggie broth, because why would you waste money on veggie water? Like, you can make your own. It's really easy. And then you can do the same with bone broth. If you buy like rotisserie chicken or a whole chicken or a whole something on a bone with like beef. I don't do that because I am not that comfortable with meat, but to the people that do, good for you. Another way with like food waste is just when produce goes bad. So this does tie back into planning your meals, because I know it's easy to just overbuy produce and you're like, oh yeah, I'll eventually eat this. But produce goes bad pretty quickly, as we all know. But so another hack that I have is storing spinach or arugula or whatever your lettuce is in the fridge in a Ziploc bag with paper towels. So you're going to take it out of the container that it's in. I mean, if you go to like Whole Foods and it comes in the plastic container with a lid, that one is fine. But if you go to Trader Joe's and you buy the spinach in the bag, I throw that bag away and I use a Ziploc bag. And so I kind of do a little bit of spinach, paper towel, a little bit of spinach, paper towel, a little bit of spinach, paper towel. So it's not just one, you're going to have a few, but it's going to absorb all of that condensation in the bag or moisture, whatever it is that's coming out of the spinach from being in the fridge. And you will be shocked at how long it can last. Another hack is storing avocados and lemons in water in the fridge. They will last for literally forever. Even if you only use half an avocado, store it in water, put it in the fridge, and it won't turn brown. It'll just be perfect for whenever you are ready to use it again. Another thing that I kind of just touched on is like the use of Ziploc bags and containers. So I do use Ziploc bags, but I reuse them like crazy. I obviously if I have raw meat or something like with just like sauce or dressing or oil in it, I'll throw it away. And every once in a while I will eventually throw away the bag, but I reuse a Ziploc bag probably like 10 times. And especially if you use it for the same thing over and over. So for example, my spinach, once I finish my spinach for the week, I just rinse the bag out, let it dry, and then once I have more spinach, use that same bag again. Same with my frozen fruit that's in the fridge, or like the veggie broth if I'm doing that. Just like label the bag for what you had in it. If you're weird about like cross-contaminating your food scraps, whatever it is, just reuse the bags. Like just because you had a bag of frozen fruit in a Ziploc bag in the freezer doesn't mean that that bag is like dirty or gonna ruin something down the line. Maybe it will, I don't know, but to my knowledge, I'm still alive and I have saved a lot of money on Ziploc bags and I feel a lot better reusing them. But that being said, I do not support, if you're packing your lunch for work or school or whatever it is, and you're like pre-slicing an apple and putting it in a bag to take to work, and then you're throwing the bag away, like that's so wasteful. Like just apples are whole, put it in your lunchbox, bring a knife. You'll save an entire Ziploc bag. You'll basically be saving the planet by not doing that. But just in general, just try and use reusable containers, reuse the things that you have. And then this also ties into the next point, which is just thinking about the life cycle of your items and purchases. So one way there's so many different ways to do this, but just when you're at the store and you see this, let me circle back because this ties into the plastic bag thing. I know that you can purchase reusable plastic bags. They're made of like silicone, I think. And I know Trader Joe's has them and you can probably buy them on Amazon or lots of places. And I, for a little bit, was like, oh, I want those. Like that makes a lot of sense. And I was like, wait, this is just like greenwashing and contributing to overconsumption because I doubt that those bags really do last that long. Like, and I'm sure if you don't buy a quality one, like it might melt in the dishwasher, it might like lose its seal or whatever it is. I'm like, I already have Ziploc bags. I already have plastic containers. I already have mason jars that I save. Like, I don't need another container that I don't even know if I'm going to use. So if you use them and like them, great. I'm happy for you. Let me know. Maybe I will eventually down the line get them, or like once I have kids and pack goldfish everywhere I go, like maybe that is what I need it for. But at the moment, that is not something I need and see as necessary. But yeah. Okay, that's my tangent on those. Okay, circling back to the life cycle of items and thinking about your purchases. We don't need to purchase 30 different kitchen towels or 30 different pots and pans. You should be investing in quality. And I know this is something that will come with time and money, like as you have the finances to invest in these things. But a quality cast iron skillet is going to take you a lot further and last you a lot longer than just kind of like a cheap pan that you probably got in college because you're like, I don't really care. I just need a pan to cook eggs. And also like a stainless steel pan. I have those. I haven't used them yet, but I need to. Just overall, like buying quality knives and like spoons and wooden spatulas, stuff like that will also go a long way. And it's also going to save you money in the long run. So just think of the things that you need and compare it to other options and be like, okay, realistically, how long is this going to last me? Because this was a topic that Emily brought up. If you don't know, she works in sustainability and we all love the environment, but she like really loves the environment. So I was like, Emily, please help me plan this episode. And she gave a lot of good tips and feedback. So something that she has learned in her job and in college and all that is just, there are these things called LCAs, a life cycle assessment. So it's like, and she's doing this at a much larger scale, but they are literally looking at items and saying, okay, what's the life cycle of this versus this? So it's like paper versus plastic bags. Okay, now that I've gone over, picking back up the next day. So if the audio sounds a little different, if I sound a little sleepy, that is why. So I just went through a lot of things that I currently do or, have just kind of have top of mind, but here are some things that I want to do in the near future. And I've talked about this a lot, but I want to have a garden so bad. I just am not home enough with my current job. And also my the backyard doesn't get like any sun. Like we don't even have grass. So I'm like, if I can't grow grass, I can't grow a garden. And I could do it in the front yard, but just, the whole watering situation. And I currently don't have a green thumb, but I want to. And then with having a garden, one, you get to grow your own produce and you get to compost and put it into the garden, which I do know you can compost on your own already and just have it picked up by like the same way you have your trash and recycling picked up. Like there are compost companies and it can go, I don't know where they take it, but they compost it. But I like just think about how lovely it would be to have your own garden, and growing your own produce is like the number one way to save transportation, time, money, all the things. And another thing you can save with all your compost is coffee grounds, which I know are good for gardening. My mom currently does that. Okay, another thing that I want to do is kind of figure out my beverage of choice when it comes to milk. So I have been drinking real milk recently, but as you heard in my last episode, I'm also kind of like testing out my sensitivity to dairy. So then I kind of started drinking almond milk again. I just know almond milk is not good for the planet because it takes so much water to produce. And I don't really drink oat milk anymore just because I don't want to touch on this too much because you might love oat milk, but just from other podcasts that I have listened to of health professionals, there are certain things on oats that they're really just like not that clean or great for your digestion and body in certain ways, like with like the sugar and glucose and stuff. And also apparently they have like cyanide or something like that on them. I don't know. Just listen to other podcasts, not mine. But currently we have a question mark for what beverage of choice in order to be kind of the most energy efficient. And then some other tips that everyone should do is just avoid greenwashing at all times. So if you don't know what greenwashing it is it's when companies literally use green marketing or like put like a reduce, reuse, recycle little triangle on products. And they're like, look, we're like eco-friendly and all that. So even then it might not actually be. So just be mindful of that. It's the same thing for like Pride Month. If a brand or company does the rainbow flag for the LGBTQ community and it really doesn't have anything to do with the business, or like breast cancer awareness, people turn everything pink. I mean, I'm all for brands supporting different causes and people and everything, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that is the best product or company for what you're looking for. Another thing that I want to do, which will definitely be more of a later in life once this becomes more accessible, but there are a few stores I've seen where they're like a refill store. So you take your bottles and go there to then refill on laundry soap, shampoo, body wash, whatever it is. I don't really know how realistic those are or how expensive they are or genuinely how eco-friendly they are, but I think that sounds nice. So maybe that will become more common in the future. But really, it's just some ending notes for this episode. I know there's a lot of internal struggles when it comes to focus on being environmental versus focusing on your health. Like for example, just the whole internal struggle for me of red meat. It's good for you, but it's not that great for the environment. So how do you choose what to focus on if you want to eat a lot of red meat for your diet, or if that makes you feel really good and that's what you know you need to eat? How do you find the balance of saving cows in the environment or feeling good and being strong and having protein and fueling your body? So I think it all just comes down to balance, which is all easier said than done. But that is all I have for today's episode. Just a reminder to love your planet Earth, love your Mother Earth, and take care of it. And just think about your choices and decisions and figure out what the impacts of all of them are on you, on the planet, just everything. But I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please leave a rating and review and follow me on Phone Eats First Pod on Instagram and Corey_in the kitchen on Instagram. We will talk soon. You are listening to Phone Eats First.